Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be discussing Paul Thomas Anderson's newest, highly acclaimed film in his first team up with Leonardo DiCaprio. Does one battle after another make it one masterpiece after another for PTA? All right, we're going to jump right into the box office breakdown for September 26th to the 28th. One battle after another did take the top spot with 22 million, so it was not able to get to 40 million and continue that Warner Brothers streak, and certainly is far from what it'll need to make in order to be profitable. But hey, at least they got over 20 million, and we will see how it continues to shake out since it's getting a lot of good buzz. Hopefully, word of mouth will kick in and it'll have a very strong legs and a long life in theaters. But Dylan, what do you make of that opening?
It's definitely a little disappointing considering what it needed to be considered profitable and my strong desire to see movies like this be profitable just for the sake of getting more of these kinds of movies made.
It has like $140 million budget, somewhere around there. Like that's huge.
But to be fair, it is still a miracle that this movie was made in general. And uh, it is like there's no world in which I would imagine a movie of this scale, of this quality, to ever be made in this movie climate. So the fact that it was made is absolutely incredible. I mean, you see movies like The Brutalist, 3.5 hours, looks gorgeous, was made on a very small budget relatively. It was only like what, $12 million.
Yeah, less than that, I think. I
Incredible
mean, like
feats,
six
being
million.
made in the smaller region, but to see a movie of this scale, of this breadth, of how massive and epic it feels in a budget that matches that epicness, uh, and being of such artistic quality, which we will get into later, I think is just a miracle in itself. So I never expected it to make a lot of money. I never expected it to make back its budget. I think the miracle is in that it was made in the first place. Not that it was made and did well, but that it was just made.
Indeed, it's a good way to look at it. And as we've alluded to in previous times, I mean, there's other things of value for a film other than just the profitability. Like a film like this, when it's getting greenlit, even though it's going to have Leo attached, it's the our greatest star of the current era. Like it's probably not going to certainly not make $1 billion. Probably not going to make $500 million. So I mean that was an uphill battle for something like F1, also starring one of our great movie stars, and that actually has some like IP flavor to it since F1 is a massive brand in and of itself. Here you're banking on PTA and Leo, and that people are going to want to go and watch this 2.5 hour movie. Um, it's not going to be like the biggest crowd pleaser in that way, but it can definitely have a good amount of money in box office. I'm sure it'll get a lot of good stuff when it goes to PVOD, and we'll talk about this a little later on. But awards, I mean, people still like prestige. People like to win awards. They like to be thanked on stage, and they like to be a part of what can go down as a classic in movie history. And
Mm.
so, if this ends up doing that, even though it may not, on the spreadsheets have been a great choice and earn them back money, it still will have earned its value 100%. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we will see how the box office continues to shake out for one battle after another. But again, this is just the start of its movie season. I'm sure we'll be talking about it come April of 2026. And at that point, again, I think the tone will shift and people will be certainly Warner Brothers and everyone who was a part of making it will certainly be happy that they went for this investment on such a massive project.
Yeah, absolutely. In second place, right behind One Battle After Another, was Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, with 13.6 million.
Indeed. So this also had $140 million budget, and it was a
Yeah.
massive undertaking.
It's just
So
amazing that a movie like this can actually be made in today's movie climate. That they could bank on the Gabby's Dollhouse franchise for something
indeed,
so massive and epic as the Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie.
and to truly reward one of our auteur filmmakers, yeah, it was about time. So
Yeah.
glad Gabby's Dollhouse is raking in
Gabby's
big
Dollhouse
bucks.
made in Tarantino.
In third place, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, 7.1 million.
Then close behind, The Conjuring: Last Rites with 6.7 million.
The Strangers Chapter 2 debuts to 5.8 million.
Him with 3.6 million.
The Long Walk, 3.3 million.
Downton Abbey: The Grand Finale. I like the way that sounds. 3.3 million.
And Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2.1, and Spider-Man 3, that whole Fathom event re-release, got 2.2 million. I guess they just put them all together. I don't know that it was like one film after another, like all back to back, but
Mhm.
through the weekend, I guess they count them all together. So 2.2 million.
And then rounding at the top 10, A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, the Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie flop, 1.1 million.
You just get so depressed every time you talk about that movie.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's
An original
unfortunate.
movie with two great stars should
Which did have
should have been better and should have done
sizable
better.
budget, definitely more like a mid-budget, low budget. We'll have to see, but
Yeah.
I reckon 30 million probably for
I'm always a
something like
fan
that.
of like mid-budget films with movie stars doing well, especially when they're original concepts. And unfortunately, this
Indeed.
was not one of them.
Yes. Well, in the box office predictions for October 3rd to the 5th, we can talk about another original film starring amazing Hollywood stars. No, we're not. We're talking about Taylor Swift, who has the official release party of a showgirl for her new album. So something that just got booked on the calendars like last month, and certainly is going to take hold of the box office crown this next weekend. What do you think it will get? It's not like that the Eras tour when that came out. It was the full 3 hour plus show. This one, I think there's like a lack of clarity, but there's definitely a music video that is being played. And then I don't know what the
Mhm.
rest of it is supposed to be. Like, is it just listening to the rest of the songs and there's just like one visualizer up on screen? Like, there's not a music video for every single
Yeah,
song. So I'm like,
I have no
what are
idea.
they doing in there for 90 minutes? But what do you
I don't
think
know.
this will end up getting?
15 to 20 mil.
15,
I think it
20
makes
mil?
solid numbers.
I think the power of the Swifties is strong. So I think it'll be over 30 mil.
Fuck, dude, that'd be crazy.
Indeed.
For what's
And
not
it,
even like a movie. It's just like if
I
it
know,
is just a
again, it's like, what
visualizer with
is
songs, it's crazy.
this?
Songs that are free to listen to on Spotify.
Yeah.
To make $30 million off of people just wanting to sit in a room and listen to your songs is crazy.
I mean, yeah, she is a billionaire for a reason at this point. She knows how
Yeah,
to utilize every method to just get more of her Swifties to come out and pay her that money.
it's a cult.
So the Smashing Machine, which was supposed to be The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, his foray into A24
Real dramatic
prestige
acting.
indie cinema, yeah, real acting, going to be overshadowed by
Yeah,
this
Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift. So, what do you think this one will get?
I think less than 15.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I don't know that it'll hit double digits, which is a shame. It'd be upsetting. And there's always the joke in like the wrestling community whenever one of his movies flops, he comes back to wrestling for a bit.
Yeah.
And he did not, again, the lead up to WrestleMania 40, which we talked about, was
Mm.
brilliant. That was not the plan, but they listened to the fan response and then they shifted the plan and it turned into like a great storyline, his whole final boss thing.
Yeah.
Um, since that point, he got entangled in John Cena's whole heel turn stuff or John Cena's farewell tour. Terrible, terrible. He left them hanging. He didn't show up to WrestleMania this year. He just stayed in
Mm.
Hawaii and like watched it. It was like there was no reason for that. He was part of the storyline. He was supposed to be there. He just chose not to. And so now the
Tough.
joke is if Smashing Machine flops and he doesn't get like an Oscar nomination, he's going to be at the next WrestleMania. He's going to
Yeah.
insert himself into the story. So
So John Cena did a heel turn for his farewell, huh?
he did, and it's since stopped because again, there was no direction for it because The Rock bow out of it. The whole thing was like The Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott for whatever reason were there, and John Cena betrayed Cody Rhodes, and then it just went downhill again. The Rock didn't show up at WrestleMania. Travis Scott did in the middle of the match with a very long entrance. It was very stupid, and then he cost Cody the match. And then after
Mm.
that point, again, there's been some like good moments. John Cena does very well, but my whole thing was like, this is his farewell tour. He got booed. We're dropping random wrestling lessons here. Sorry for everyone that came for
Go
PTA,
ahead. Yeah, go
but
ahead.
like because he was the face of the company. Again, when someone's oversaturated, what happens? People turn against them.
Yeah, of
So
course.
He was the face of the company, carried the company for well over 10 years. But by that point, people had gotten so sick with him, and especially because his whole deal catered more towards kids, like he was the kids' hero. And obviously, a lot of kids watch wrestling, so they wanted to keep him in that position. So he
Mhm.
never turned heel, which frustrated a lot of the older people that were like, this guy is too in our face, too catered to kids. We want something edgy, darker. We want him to go heel, and he didn't do it. Um, so he was getting booed a lot, like a lot of his performances, and then he went part time. So every time he came back in like 2021, stuff like that, he would get huge cheers. But
Yeah.
the mid 2010s, even early 2010s, I mean, really even back in like '06, but that was like ECW. He was getting booed a lot. So I was like, for his farewell tour, let this man just be loved. Like the audience doesn't want to boo John Cena when we know it's his last year. We don't want
Yeah.
to do it. And half the time when he would do his heel promos, because he's so good on the mic, people would start cheering him anyway. And he's supposed to be going against like Cody, who is now the face of the company, who's supposed to be cheered. And people ended
Yeah.
up booing Cody a little bit because they like Cena that much. And so I'm like,
Oof.
this is just
It's a tough call.
like poor decision to make. Again, the novelty of heel Cena, it was interesting, but ultimately, which they've done now, they've corrected it and they had him turn back and he's like, "Oh, you guys know I don't hate wrestling. Like I love you guys." And so it's like, okay, so they just for 6 months made us all pretend that Cena was like the enemy of wrestling and wanted to end wrestling and hated the fans and all this. And it's like we all know that's
Yeah.
not the case. So at least now they're letting him, go out. His final match is going to be in December. He's only got a few more appearances left. So now they're going to let him get cheered. But I would just wish the whole year they would have allowed that to happen.
Sure.
Anyway, point being, John Cena is going to be gone and The Rock is coming back next year because the Smashing Machine flopped. So everyone go out and watch the Smashing Machine so we can avoid that. But yeah, one battle after another. PTA.
Good
Uh,
segue. Good turn.
so from PTA, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Chase Infinity in her debut, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Benicio del Toro, Tony Goldwyn, a whole host of others, and smaller character actors in these little parts, but very impactful parts. Inspired by Vineland from Thomas Pynchon. Have you ever read any Pynchon novels or read Vineland? I have not.
No, but I know my brother loves Gravity's Rainbow.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's next on the docket for a PTA film, perhaps? Do you know
Perhaps
anything about
I
that film
having
or that book?
seen this movie and having seen Inherent Vice and having known that my brother loves Gravity Rainbow, I think I'm gonna check out Thomas Pynchon next as like an author to read.
Yeah, because PTA obviously loves him. Adapted now two of his works.
Yeah,
So if you're trying to get a head start on figuring out what his next film is, maybe
check
going
out
and
some
reading
Thomas Pynchon.
Pynchon. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll give you some clues. But first, I want to talk about the viewing experience because we knew, for cinephiles, film lovers, this was going to be an event. So, how did you treat this event? Did you go for IMAX? Did you go regular screenings? Did you try and go to, I don't know if they were doing like 70 millimeter screenings, but what was your plan?
they had a 70 millimeter IMAX in Fort Lauderdale, which is a three plus hour drive for
Yep.
those who don't know about Florida. For us, it would be like a three plus hour drive. And I had nothing going on over the weekend, like to go see it. So I briefly considered making the drive down
Uh huh.
to watch one battle after another in 70 millimeter IMAX. It was, yeah, it was 70 millimeter IMAX. No, it was 35 millimeter IMAX. Because 70
Oh,
millimeter IMAX is only shown in 4 theaters in the world.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I forget what the whole situation was because Oppenheimer obviously drew a lot of attention to that. Um,
There were only four
but
theaters. It was like LA, New York, London, and one other. And it wasn't Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
well, no, that's for VistaVision.
Oh, you're right. It was 70 millimeter IMAX in Fort Lauderdale. It was
Yeah.
VistaVision is only in 4 theaters in the world. You're right. This is what it is. See, you and me, we're figuring it out together. We're getting there. This is perfect. This is why the show works. Uh, it was 70 millimeter IMAX in Fort Lauderdale, and I really wanted to see it in VistaVision, but my ass is not going to
Yeah, there's just no way. And
another state to
also,
go see one movie.
similar to how 70 millimeter IMAX, there's a whole bunch of projectors that broke, like the opening night of Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
Apparently, that's the case for a lot of the VistaVision because again, it's like 60 plus year old equipment. They try and
yeah,
fire it back up for this, so it's prone to break down, and that happened for quite a few showings. So yeah,
Yeah.
it would never make any sense to try and like go across the country basically to go to a viewing that probably will break down, and then
Yeah.
you're out of luck.
Yeah. But I wanted to go to the 70 millimeter film IMAX showing in Fort Lauderdale, but I was like, I'm not going to drive. It'd be kind of a funny story, but it would, take a bunch of gas. It would be my whole fucking day to watch because it's a 3 hour movie. It's 3 hours to get there, 3 hours back. That's 9 hours of my time committed to this. If I don't stop for food or anything, which, if, let's be honest, I'm going to probably like 11, 12 hours of my day. It's a whole fucking day to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's showing like in the afternoon at the earliest. So I'm getting home at like midnight or 1 a.m. And I was like, it's just, or I could just pay $7 and go 5 minutes up the road and watch it in IMAX. So I went and saw it in IMAX.
Okay, there you go. Nice. I went regular.
No,
I was considering going IMAX. I was going to see,
no,
but ultimately I decided to go regular.
criminal.
Um,
I would
and
never watch this movie in regular
really, you think it's
unless I was
that
really broke.
that critical to it? I mean, that was a factor. I was like, do I want to pay the extra? And plus, I was going with my dad and everything, so I'm like,
Yeah,
should we go
I
for
paid the
that?
extra $7.
Upcharge. Because then for him it'd be like the full ticket, and I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna do all that. So we just went regular. But it's the big auditorium, so we got at least the nice size screen.
Sure.
So that part I was happy with. But yeah, I wondered whether or not the IMAX route was the way to go.
It was. It was amazing. It was incredible. Not just because of the scale of the image, but just the sound quality. I've always found the IMAX theaters have better sound quality than the regular theaters, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean you can feel. I talked about this like with F1, or maybe we didn't do the actual show on that, but you can feel the rumble in the
Yeah.
seats, like when something bass boosted or the subwoofer is going off. Like you can feel the
Yeah.
rumble. So definitely the sounds, if not the quality, just like the loudness of it, definitely immerses
Yeah.
you much more into the film.
Yeah. I think people underestimate the effect of sound on the viewing experience because they're always about image quality, which is why I really like the Dolby theaters at AMC because they are all about the soundscape. It's Dolby equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But this was one that was meant to be seen on like the biggest screen possible, and so IMAX was definitely the way to go. Giant screen going on here, huge, beautiful images, and the sound in those IMAX theaters, it's pretty close to a Dolby theater. It's still pretty great.
Gotcha. All right. And as for your initial impressions, sort of been given away a little bit here through
Yeah,
our discussion,
I
but
just can't help myself.
what do you think for one battle after another?
This movie fucking slaps. This shit is one of the coolest things you will ever see in your life. It is flawless start to finish. It is so awesome and so profound. And it's amazing how like modern and like relevant it is to this exact moment when he's been working on this script for 20 years. They've been shooting it for over 2 years. Like they started shooting it over 2 years ago. The fact that it has become even more relevant right now than it was when they started shooting is mind-boggling to me.
Mhm.
And it is a movie for the press. It's going to win so many awards at the Oscars because of how relevant it is. That is like a mixture of luck with the like, current political climate of not just America but the world. It's a mixture of luck of that happening and making this more relevant, and also just the genius behind how it probably will always be relevant no matter what the political climate is. There's always a feeling of distrust of the government and a feeling of like desire to rebel and to fight for what you believe is right, and kind of the egoism that goes behind a lot of revolutionary groups, and this desire to stand up against the government, this desire to quote unquote do what's right but also stand out and be I think of Andor a lot when I think of this movie about these rebel groups in Andor that are proclaimed and they're named and they're standing out and they're proud quote unquote terrorists in the Star Wars universe. You have Saw Gerrera, who is this revolutionary figure who's cutthroat, and then you have Stellan Skarsgård's character who is very quiet and he's in the shadows and he understands that these revolutionary groups are necessary, but a real revolution is won by like the secrecy and the funding and being as shadowy as the real government. And so when you watch a movie like One Battle After Another and you're watching these people fight and they rob banks and they blow things up, all of that falters and falls apart very quickly, and the things that last are this guy who has set up, these little devices that communicate to each other with tunes to let you know who to trust, and these radio waves where he's doing a quiet broadcast. These are the things that last years and years. Is this underground sort of revolution, and that the revolution can't die because that part still exists. So even if the people like Perfidia, who are the egotistical revolutionary that's standing up and fighting, even if they are taken down, and even if they turn and become rats, like the revolution stays strong because of the beliefs of the people, and the willingness to be secret and fight against what you believe is wrong. And you cannot kill an idea, and then this movie stands by that 100%, start to finish. It ends on that note of the idea of revolution passing on from generation to generation. You cannot kill that idea once it's embedded in a person, and I love that. Viva la revolucion!
Yeah, I think that's well said. I think it's beautiful that, and we'll dig into all the like actual story beats that go on in the film, and then try and decipher how we think that might apply to the real world, and like what is he actually saying with the story. But I agree with you 100%. Like that idea of maybe not outright revolution, but I would say at least like resistance and people trying to do what's good, and like make sure that there's pushback against controlling forces that are making things worse for people in their day-to-day lives. Like that lives on, and it lives on because there is such a strong community of people that are looking out for each other, caring for each other. I think that's the part that like struck me the most, because Dylan, I saw this twice. Did you see this another time after your initial
I haven't yet.
watch?
It's on my list. I need to make time. I'm about to start working like a lot this month, and I have to make time at some point to watch it again because I want to. But the next time I go, I want to go with somebody. I don't want to go
Mm.
alone. I want to sit with somebody who hasn't seen it yet and like look over and see their reactions a bunch of times because it's just so good. And I want to have somebody to talk about it with immediately as soon as I get out of the theater, which is
Gotcha.
like one of the great experiences of the theater. Is watching a movie, even if you're at home, like a home theater, like a movie night experience, is being able to just immediately talk about what you saw and to engage and discuss, the very, very fresh thoughts. And so going to
Mhm.
movies alone, I'm never going to let other people's schedules dictate when I do or don't see movies. I'm going to go and see a movie if I want to, but I am missing out on the experience of, oh my God, wasn't that amazing? This, that, what do you think about this? Or, oh man, that was terrible. I hated this, I hated that. The discourse. I miss out on that a lot.
Right, very true. But yeah, so I saw it a second time, and God, this
Did you go
movie is
to IMAX
good.
the second
It's
time?
incredible. It slaps. No, I did not,
God, you son of a
because
bitch.
it was partitioned up between Avatar re-released and uh,
Mm.
I think Smash Machine had some IMAX, or so it was all
Oh, really?
partitioned up. I was just trying to go, and again, the most like opportune showtime for me was not any of the IMAX ones.
Mm.
So, and also because then I have to go to Waterford. So I was just trying to get like another viewing in a couple of days ago, and I did, and it was fantastic. But again, I was able to pick up on some more of these things since I'd
Mm.
already seen it, and I was like, okay, let's dig into more of this stuff, because certainly once we get to the award season and this, now it's become the front runner. It was sort of open season before this, but now I think it's very clear that this will be the one to beat. Um, the discourse on this in our political climate currently is going to go insane, because there's a very superficial and like just I think wrong reading of this, which is that like, oh, the French 75 and what's going on at the very start of the film, that like this film would in any way call for that or position that to be right, or like what should be going on. I don't think that's the case at all, as you sort of touched on, of like the difference in um, perfidia as a representation of the like the attraction to this revolutionary lifestyle, where again you are blowing up bombs, you're like doing this stuff, you get to feel like a renegade,
Yeah.
and they're
It's not
guided.
always just yeah, it's not just about doing what's right. It's about feeling great because technically you're doing something wrong.
It's feeling the
It's like a
powerful
combination.
element to it.
Yes.
It's feeling the
Yes.
power, like Jungle Pussy when she comes up on
Yes. I love her
in the
speech.
bank. She like that whole thing, like this performative thing. You can tell it's like she's done this before, and it's like sure maybe guided by some good ideas and good ideals and whatnot, but the actual like performance of it and the route that they're going about it is in some way to get like that power high. And
Mhm.
so I just think it's a compelling way to showcase that at the start, and then obviously there's a shift when um, a baby comes into the picture, and then Bob is trying to be like, okay, now we gotta settle down, And she's like, no, I don't, like, for various different reasons. She's like, no, I don't want to settle into that particular lifestyle, and continues to chase um, that revolutionary high and run away from the more mundane domestic lifestyle that for so long they've been like trying to fight against. So I think it's compelling that you get, again, what is the revolutionary, the radical left, right, doing what is, I mean, amounts to in many different cases like domestic terrorism acts. But that is not like the main focus of the story. The main focus of the story that we get is like Bob, Willa, and then particularly Benicio del Toro's character, like that whole the underground railroad basically of like these
Yeah.
people looking out for each other, just trying to make sure they're okay. And again, like that stuff would be, technically illegal and whatnot, but it's not them out there doing these crazy revolutionary acts. It's them just trying to like make sure people are okay, like normal people are just being taken care of. And I think that is
Yeah.
like a beautiful sentiment. And we'll talk about as
PTA.
we go through it, but there's like these little moments that he has, just little shots of those people, like the people that are getting raided at those different businesses, or the people like we see what 2 dozen families that are there, and they're all getting like told to stand up and they gotta go on the move, stuff like that. And he just approaches it in a very human manner, and so I like that element to it. I think it, as you said, it's very timely. I think it humanizes the situation that's going on, um, but I don't think it like in any way is trying to condone or support like what we see go on with the French 75 at the very beginning. And I just know that that is absolutely going to be like we're going to get within, before the Oscar ceremony, without a doubt. Trump on True Social is going to post
Mhm.
something about like
Yeah.
the radical left, PTA, blah blah blah, is trying to promote terrorism against ICE agents and whatnot. And it's like this totally overlooks
Yeah.
what the film is really about on like the human level, like dealing with the specific characters. And then when we do look at it from the socio-political perspective, I think it also is a wrong reading of the film. And we'll get to that, like how it ends off and the very ending of the film, what Willa chooses to do. Um, so yeah, very rich film, a lot to talk about here. So let's dive into it with full spoilers. Um, but you had something you wanted to say before we
I
start
think
going
I
deep?
think PTA does like a magic trick here, where many times you see movies that use analogies to kind of compare the U.S. government and the U.S. Police to like an evil force. Like I think Star Wars does that. I think George Lucas has said many times that it's supposed to be kind of like an analogy for the Vietnam War, that the Empire is kind of like the U.S. government, and that the rebels are like the Viet Cong, and that it is supposed to be like them using like those jungle tactics to defeat like a large government structure. You see movies that make these kinds of analogies, and people will always not notice it, or they won't think about it, or they will, they'll say the rebels are the good guys, the U.S. is the good guys. Why isn't that, the thing? They'll make a false comparison when it's not truly like that. And this is a movie where there is no false comparisons that can be made. The U.S. government is the U.S. government, and the revolutionaries are the revolutionaries, and it is like it is just a direct comparison. And even though Sean Penn's character, and we'll get into this, has ulterior motives that aren't government based, he's trying to track down an individual person. He's using his ability and his power that he has to do this thing, and the people that are underneath him who are not aware of his ulterior motives are blindly following orders and doing these horrible things to this community in order to satiate his need. And that is the problem, is not, it is not that the government does bad all the time. It's that those that are in power have the ability to do bad things unchecked, and that is like a consistent problem that is never addressed in real life. And that's what PTA is showing here, is that this government entity, they have, they're dressed like the army, but they have things that say police on them. So I don't really know what entity they're supposed to represent. I guess just
The specific name in the film is MKU, which I imagine is just some fictional thing.
it's a like a vague representation of government authority, I think, is
Yeah,
the intention. And they use very oppressive tactics that are used in real life, very intense interrogation techniques to get information that they need, putting pressure on people who aren't even really supposed to be detained because they've committed no crimes, uh, illegally kidnapping individuals, which we see all the time. uh, you know, having agents sneak into crowds and incite violence in order to give the excuse for the oppressive force to attack peaceful protesters. These things are like true and they happen all the time, and PTA is just showing it, and you believe it 100%. You believe this is happening, and I think the biggest issue is that people are going to leave and they're going to believe that it happened in the movie and not believe that it happens in real life. When PTA is just showing you like a reality, this might be a fictional film, but government entities do this. Our government entities do this. You know, peaceful protests cripple because of these real things. You know, government agencies do intense interrogations that are oftentimes not legal. They do kidnap people and ship them out illegally, and you can't find them anymore. You know, this is really happening, and you don't believe that it's happening because you're watching a fictional movie, but this is real. People are revolutionaries like this. People do domestic terrorism. They bomb buildings and they break out, you know, immigrants. These are real things that do happen. And on the reverse side of that, these are real things that government agencies do. And I like that it's not an analogy in any way. It is just directly showing what reality is. And then in that, he's built just like a wonderful family story between Bob and Willa and Lockjaw that you can follow and that you can all be on the same side of. That Lockjaw is a bad person, that this is evil, and that Bob and Willa have the right to exist, and you're rooting for them to win, no matter who you are, because that is what the story is telling you to do. But really what it's telling you is that revolution and resistance is a good thing and a good combatant to oppressive government forces. And you don't realize that you're thinking that because you're thinking about a family story as opposed to a larger than life story. But the family story is happening around this larger than life event. And so that's what makes it an epic, is putting it on bigger, taking a small scale story and putting it on the biggest scale possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this movie's an epic. Absolutely.
Well, there you go. Just two things about that. I wonder, because I don't know if my concern would be that people are not going to apply what is in the movie to real world circumstances. I think the opposite. I think there's going to be a lot of comparisons drawn, and again, some of them I think are intentional and some of them will be good. But I'm just looking at it from the perspective of like the dishonest reading that will come from this, where, it's just going to be like, oh, this standing for ICE basically has this cartoonish villain at the front of it.
That's what I'm saying, is people are going to say that like, oh, this isn't really what's happening. ICE isn't actually like this. People are going to have that dishonest reading, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think that would be the case. I think on the other side, there will be people that will use that to be like, oh, see, this is how they're characterizing ICE as either like crazy evil or like buffoonish.
I think we're saying the same.
But I think most people will apply it to real life. I don't think there's like people that are not on the right wing that are currently supporting what is happening in the country with ICE. I don't think there's any way for them to misread that. I don't think they go like, oh, this is just a movie that ICE isn't doing. You said you were concerned that you thought people would just say like, oh, this is what's happening in the movie, but it's not happening in real life. I don't think it's the case. I think everyone knows that this would be, oh, you're saying about those particular people.
Yes.
I also don't think that's the case. I think they would say this is just a dishonest representation of that. Like, I think they know. I think everyone knows. I just think they don't care. So
I think we're saying the same thing.
To an extent, sure. I also think, I don't think there are, Fringe 75, that does not exist today. Like, there are no actual left-wing groups. I mean, maybe in the 60s there were some stuff, but
that's what
today that just doesn't happen.
The movie is like taking a story that kind of takes place in the 60s and 80s and updating it for modern day times. But
yeah,
certainly, the novel for which it's inspired is based on those revolutionary groups in the 60s. And the majority of the novel takes place in the 80s, having been, retired from that lifestyle for so long.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I think it's compelling, because something like the French 75 versus, the governmental forces doesn't seem like true reality here. But as far as the depiction of like a government force has way too much leeway to, as Sean Penn says, like in the middle of the film, he's like, make me a reason to go to that town so that he can essentially just abduct Willa. Like, that stuff is insane. We're seeing that happen at the very top. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't believe that they're like, oh, this would never happen in real life. It's that it's happening in real life and they want it in real life. Like, all the not so veiled threats at all to multiple cities in this country, even like this weekend where it's happening, where if not the National Guard, then ICE or other governmental forces are being sent to those cities. And it's out there. It's like out loud. And even when the conduct is
My
on
argument is
display,
that
when there's certain
my argument is
videos,
that
like it's there.
is not that they don't think that this is happening. My argument is that they think that it's happening, but that it's a good thing. Like in the movie, I think it's unmistakable that Sean Penn is an evil character, and I think even right wingers would go and be like, "Wow, Sean Penn was like." They're not gonna like spin it and be like Sean Penn's the good guy. They're gonna go out of the movie saying Sean Penn's the bad guy, like he is the bad guy of the movie. I don't think you can spin that. But in real life, they're spinning similar actions and saying that it's a good thing, is what I'm saying, which I think is the same
Mm,
thing you're saying.
yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
So we're saying the same thing.
Sure. Um, the issue is you just didn't clarify who you were talking about of like what people were going to take away from it.
Sorry. I didn't
Uh,
realize I needed to clarify. I was trying to walk a line and not point fingers, I guess.
well, the line has been crossed for sure. But what I think is compelling is we're making it sound like this is very serious, political treatise out there. This film is very tense and suspenseful, and then also very funny. Like it
Yeah, it's
is,
awesome.
it's just a fun, entertaining thrill ride. And then it has, obviously, as you said, like representations of reality, and you can fully dig into that and like what it's supposed to mean. But at the very core of it, as you said, is that small scale story of a father just trying to get back his daughter. Um,
Mhm.
and that works wonderfully. And then, of course, it's PTA. So we got a lot of weird stuff in here and a lot of just like dark black comedy moments. And so even in that opening raid where we're seeing like it starts, very testy of okay, these revolutionaries are about to go in and free migrants that are being currently held. And then in the middle of that, we get the exchange of Perfidia and Lockjaw where she's like, get
Hell
it
yeah.
up, it makes him get a boner so that, and then, we see that as she's escorting him out. Like he just gets obsessed with her basically. We see later on he's with the binoculars looking at
Mhm.
them in one of their meetings and he's just totally obsessed. And then that leads into them getting together at a hotel after he like stopped her in the act of one of the bombings that they were going to do.
Yeah.
So what did you
And
make of this
blackmails her
whole
to go.
whole thing of like this Perfidia and Lockjaw, just I don't know, the strange dynamic that they had.
It's interesting because obviously in the sexual relationship she is very much dominant, but in real life, like outside of their sexual relationship, he holds all of the power. Like he is a government agent, he knows where she is, he knows she's like guilty beyond reason, and if he just takes her in, she's in prison for life. And so he holds all of the power because he knows all this about her. And then in their sexual relationship, he doesn't want to have any power, which I think, is just part of his character. He likes being submissive in bed. He lives a life of being the dominant figure everywhere else. I think it makes sense that in bed he would be, taken over by this strong, powerful black woman since he's obsessed with black women. And I think, of course that leads into him being ashamed of that, and that leads into the plot of the whole movie. But do you think what do you think of Perfidia's side? Like, do you obviously I don't think she wants to have sex with Lockjaw.
I think it's open to interpretation. I think
It
that's
is.
the like
It is
compelling
a
part
little
of it
bit.
of because we see him obviously he just the contradictions that are within people. Like he idealistically would be opposed to everything she's doing in the French
Hmm.
75. And then also we see he's like trying to get in with, a group of white supremacists, basically like racists. And so
Yeah.
even him just like whether or not he has a like natural attraction to black women or if it was just a perfidia thing,
Hmm.
like there's that contradiction there that he has. And then you already spoke about like him being dominant in real life and then he's something with being submissive and all throughout when she was controlling the situation when they first meet, like he was getting off on that. So that is compelling on his side. On her side, I think it's similarly compelling where he represents like everything that she should be disgusted with about
Yeah.
the power structures in America and uh, government authority and all of that. But then also, I mean, we talked about with other ways of like the revolutionary high, like feeling powerful when you're doing these certain acts. So I think I don't know if she's like attracted to the guy, but I think she is attracted to the power and the
The power
satisfaction of
dynamic.
having
Yeah.
someone that is so like this is a racist white dude helming one of the government organizations, and he's like obsessed with her and submitting to her, and so
Yeah.
she gets off on that fact.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird, twisted dynamic, but it's very compelling, and it's a wild start to the whole film. Like this is obviously what kicks it off, because then he continues to pursue her and tries to save her after something goes wrong with one of her Fringe 75 outings, and then she rats on everyone in the group and has to like self-preserve after that point. So
All of a sudden, the power dynamic changes though when she's in the hospital and he's like telling her that he can get her out of it if she just rats,
mhm.
because their whole sexual dynamic is that she's in control and he's not, and that's what's appealing to both of them. And then in that situation, it's not sexual anymore. It's like their real world dynamic. He's in charge, and I think that becomes like painfully obvious to Perfidia, and I think that's obviously something she doesn't want. But I think she's also scared to go to prison, and so I think she rats because it's like this terrifying thing. Her ego has now been shattered. She killed a man. Uh, she's about to be sentenced to jail for the rest of her life, and she doesn't want to do it. And so she gets out, but then she runs away because she doesn't want to be in this relationship with Lockjaw where she is not the one in control.
Mhm.
And so she bounces.
Yeah.
Also, brief moment to just say Sean Penn, fantastic in this movie. If he doesn't win an Oscar, I'll eat my hat, bro. He's absolutely incredible. When he goes up to Leo in the grocery store and he's talking to her about Leo's daughter, and he goes, "Do you like black women?" And then he walks around in front of me and goes, "Me? I love them." There's just
Yeah.
like such a specific intensity to his character that he never lets down. He never gives it up. The way he walks, like the physicality of his performance,
The walk is, yeah,
he is
insane.
like a this is
Truly
like
dedicated.
the perfect kind of supporting performance, is one that like stands out on its own but still builds up the story around it. And he is hitting the nail on the head so heavy. His line deliveries are fantastic. His physicality is fantastic. His character is really well written. If he doesn't win an Oscar, I will eat my hat. I swear to God.
Yeah, I think he's great. I know that I'm in line, first in line to helm his For Your Consideration campaign for the Oscars, like
No,
you,
I think he
but
should win.
I think he's definitely great, and I'm sure we'll see a
He's
nomination
phenomenal.
without a doubt. So yeah, we get all that, and then again, just that whole opening prologue, like the first 30 minutes, we just move through it so swiftly. The
Mhm.
score, I think, is a great element to this as well.
Johnny
But then
Greenwood's score is fantastic. I'm
is
still mad that he lost the Phantom Thread score. He should have won for that. And I hope to God he wins for this. It's such a simple score, but it's so effective.
100%. And in that, there's like this little extended montage of her dealing with motherhood and like the fallout of it, and now she's
Mhm.
feeling isolated. She's feeling like she's no longer the priority or being cared for at
She's not
all. And
powerful anymore. She has no power anymore because the baby is taking all the attention, and that hurts her
mhm,
ego. I love her character. Perfidia is such a good character.
yeah,
Even
so
though she's
it's
not in most of this movie, she's fantastic.
yeah,
Her
and
presence is felt throughout.
oh, 100%. So yeah, all of those flaws are like on display, and again, not harshly judged. They're just like there, and then we see that conversation between her and uh, Bob, where he's trying to get her to like stay, but again, she wants to go out and chase that power, chase the revolutionary high, and so yeah, we just get that break in their family because that's the last time they see each other. She does the bank robbery, it goes awry, which I just think was so masterfully done. Like we get that long take, we're following Jungle Pussy as she's doing this little
Hmm.
monologue, and we think we're gonna like focus on that, and then of course, boom, a gunshot breaks it, and then we find that it's Perfidia had shot a security guard. It looks like
Yeah.
in the bank, and then obviously now it makes everything serious. Like up to this point, you know, they've been doing all these actions, but they hadn't killed anyone. They're not trying to like kill
Felt like
people,
a game.
and
Yeah.
now this innocent person has died. It's real life. They're all on the run, and then yeah, she just gets caught. But I think that whole like the chase had a good like frantic energy because it just like them the characters they didn't know what to do, like they were kind of sloppy. I thought it was funny
Mhm.
the shot of like they're all out there running and it's like um who is it, Tiana Taylor, who looks great running. Like she and Tom Cruise need to be in a movie running because she was sprinting full force,
Yeah.
looked
She was going
incredible.
for it.
But then you see Jungle Pussy next to her in the like most eye-catching outfit ever, like all these colors and everything. It's like, how is she supposed to escape? And apparently she did, because later, she's getting killed with all the other French 75. I'm like, how'd they catch her? Tiana Taylor, who's sprinting like a mofo, and
Yeah,
then Jungle Pussy is very obvious to see, and running and who knows what, but she was not keeping up. So I don't know how she didn't get captured. But I just think that whole sequence was expertly done.
yeah,
And then the whole sequence of the French 75 just getting capped one by
dude,
one,
crazy, getting gunned
all
down.
gunned down. Again, big shock when Alana Haim, I believe, she like runs
Yeah,
out of the grocery store and then
get shot right in the
gets
head.
shot. Yeah, put down immediately. So all
No
that stuff
hesitation.
really effectively done. And of course, Bob's, departure is it's just sad, but we're getting all this information as well about like the devices that are going to have the melody, which comes into play. It's just the tonal balance that PTA is able to create here is astounding, because like this whole sequence is just like it's sad, it's distressing, but then very
Hmm.
quickly we head back into something that's silly and kind of absurdist. And then he's able to just like oscillate between the two, but we never like the stakes never disappear. Like we always are there feeling the fear for Willa, hoping that
Hmm.
Bob's able to get back to her. Um, but even just like Lockjaw, which we'll talk about again, the rest of Sean Penn's performance, again, he's just so like silly and cartoonish, like the obvious front he's putting on all the time, to be like powerful, to be the guy in control. But even with that like silliness, he's scary. Like he still poses a great threat as a villain. So that is just again a mark of a great director, to be able to manage all those various tones. None of them
Hmm.
feel out of place. None of them feel false. So yeah, that whole initial sequence, fantastic. Um, yeah, what do you make of when we head into the present day for Bob and Willa?
This is the time where I had to go pee,
No,
and
you went to the bathroom.
I left the theater when he was talking to the teacher, so I don't know what their conversation is.
Okay,
But I
not
run
not
to the
that bad.
bathroom. I'm gone for maybe 45 seconds. It's right next to the bathroom, so I run in. I pee real
That was
quick, wash
quick.
my
That's
hands,
fine.
run back in. I was rushing. I was like physically running because I wanted to get back so fast.
I'm
So I
glad you
only
washed your
missed.
hands.
Yes,
Very good.
of course. I'm not gonna skip that, even though cleanliness is next to movieliness. And I only missed their conversation, so I have no idea what they say. But I like the transition. I think it's very clear and concise. It's hard to remember because I really had to pee at the time.
No, that's
But
okay. Well, because the thing that you had said of like, oh, 20 years ago this had been written, but yet it's so timely. I mean, it makes sense. Even in the thing, she was like, all right, 16 years passed, but not much had changed in the world. Like things are still very much the same. So that was like the transition. She's doing the karate. In the conversation with the history teacher, there wasn't much. He just started breaking down crying because he's like, oh, her mom is gone, and I guess it's hard for her. So we get a little bit
mm,
of that sentimentality in there. Basically, just Bob, feeling like he's not able to really take care of her on his own.
yeah,
So we get that. And then we get into the Christmas adventures,
dude,
where
I
he
love
gets
everything to do
invited
with the
to the
Christmas Adventures. It is so funny. What is it? Hail Saint Nick.
Hail Saint Nick. Yep.
That shit is so funny because they're meeting, and
So
at first you're like, oh, this is just some like rich guy club. Like they're just like making up this fun thing to like because they're all wealthy and stuff and have power. It's like something stupid. And then like progressively they get more and more racist the more things they say, and you're like, oh, it's a white supremacist club. Oh my god,
yeah.
it is like getting worse and worse. But that's such a fun name, the Christmas Adventurers.
Yeah.
And I love
So
Sean Penn, like his character's like obsession to get in it, and he's just like so locked in to wanting to be a part of the Christmas Adventure. He's willing to go to such extreme lengths to be a part of this group.
exactly. Yeah, it was like being a part of that is a higher honor than having Willa. So
Yeah,
he's, but that's great. Like that moment where they're like, "So we're gonna do this like background check on you. Anything we should be concerned about?" And obviously, he knows we know. Oh, there is something you should be worried about. But he's like, "Nope,
yeah.
we're okay."
I love that they don't have to spell out that Paul Thomas Anderson does not explicitly spell out the fact that Willa could be his daughter and not Bob's. And he uses like very good cuts to kind of explain that. It like goes very quickly from her having sex with Lockjaw to her being pregnant to kind of explain that. And it's like it could be Bob's kid. They have sex plenty of times, you know, but it also could be Lockjaw. She did have sex with Lockjaw at the same time. And there's no need to like have a scene where Perfidia is like, because they do a part where in that second scene with the Christmas Adventures where they're reading Jungle Pussy's like transcripts about explaining how Lockjaw might be the father of the baby because Perfidia got upset and like spilled it out, and they could have just shown that scene of Perfidia and Jungle Pussy talking, and Perfidia being like, "I had sex with this guy. He could be the baby's father and not Bob," and they just don't bother with it because it's not necessary. Because you know in your head that it's a possibility.
Mhm.
You know that this is probably where the plot's going, and then it really locks in when they ask him that question. They say, "Is there anything we need to know about? You know, have you like anything we need to be concerned with?" And he says no, and then as he's the shot of him walking away where it's just the back of his head and the music is blaring. You can
Like
feel the
the
burning
sad music.
sensation of like knowledge in him of like he needs to nip this in the bud. You can feel it coming from him just looking at the back of his head, not even seeing his face. You can feel this intent to like this drive to get into this club and the knowledge that he needs to cover up these things about his past. It's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah, and we go into he gets there. He's in the town. They've made a reason for him to be there, and so the hunt is on. And then we get Bob's escape. But before that, we get that exchange of him and Willa, where he was apparently extremely drunk, but was able to drink and drive back home, but was just sleeping through the whole morning and into the afternoon. And she's kind of parenting him, which
Hmm.
he likes. That she's standing up for herself, and is having a strong opinion on this, and it's like this isn't okay, basically. But on the other hand, he's like, well, but I'm the parent, so I need to be the one in control.
Yeah.
And so he takes that out on her friends, like when he
Hmm.
shows up at the door and he says all that out of pocket stuff to him about like,
Anything you do to her, I'm going to do to you.
yeah, exactly. Um, so I like that whole exchange. And then later we get, he just chilling, smoking weed on the couch, and they're like, "Hey, Lockjaw's in town, and you need to bounce, basically."
Hmm.
Um, and
And
this
he's just
man,
inept. He's just inept
he's
for almost the rest of the
fried
movie.
his brain. So that's like an interesting
Yeah.
approach to he's like the hero of the story in it, but he has no qualities to be the hero of the story. Like everything he does is
In effect, he
accidental
does
or
almost
into it.
nothing to help the
Yeah,
story.
pretty much.
The kind of story wraps around him, and he's just like trying to play catch up. And the only thing I think he does of some kind of benefit is he shoots at Lockjaw's car at the end, which makes Lockjaw rush, I think, which maybe would have kept,
Mm,
other people from getting in the car or something. I don't even know. But it's the only kind of direct contact he has with the Lockjaw storyline is shooting at his car. Other than that, he's just like playing catch up the whole time. He's, physically weak. He's out of
he's
shape.
out of
He's
shape. He can't
high as
run.
hell, drunk for good parts of it, drinking
No
beer.
memory. Absolutely no
Can't for
memory.
the life of him, call and remember I cannot for the life of me remember what the code is.
What time is it?
What
Yeah.
time is it?
What's the password? So we get that, and obviously a good portion that was in the trailer, but it's still
Mm.
funny to see it just
It's
continuing to
funny
like, oh
because
shoot,
it's like it's his character's storyline for like 30 minutes is trying to get on the phone and find the location. For like 30 minutes of the movie, he's just trying to do this one thing. And
hmm
everybody has, can relate to bad customer service on the phone and trying to deal with somebody who like won't give you something you need and just like please just tell me like I need this information and like
yeah,
continually getting hung up on and trying to deal with like internet like phone service things. Like you can relate to that, and the humor is in like this is a revolutionary group. You know who he is, like you understand the codes and the reasoning for the codes, but this is an emergency. It's just so funny. It's just so funny.
100%. So we get all that, and then that leads into like he hooks up with Sensei to try and
I
find a
love
place to charge
Benicio
his
del Toro in
phone.
this movie.
He's
Courage,
so
Bob.
good. He's so good. Yeah, everything with the Courage Bob, Ocean Waves Bob, all this stuff. I love it. And so we get a big portion of them. Like they are first passing through the riot when they're trying to get back to his apartment complex, and so we see like you were talking
Mhm.
about there, like the instigation to allow the riot police to go in and shut it down. Um, but yeah, again, I just love his character and I love the approach because again, he's not doing this for ego or to feel like the high, the rush, the power of doing these revolutionary acts.
He's just trying to help
He
people.
has no ego.
Yeah.
He does not care about like being heralded as the guy that's like the one helming all this. He just wants to do it because it's right, because he just wants to
Mhm.
help these people out. And so I think that's beautiful. And so his like calm throughout all of it,
It's so
especially
great.
in contrast with Bob, who's freaking out and like rightfully so, like he's trying to get back his daughter. He's pissed off about the freaking, the customer service of the revolution and high and drunk and whatnot. So he's got a lot going on, but Sensei is there to try and be that like calming presence. And then we see again just the sequence of them like in the store. Sensei is trying to convey what's going on and let them know, okay,
Mhm.
we got to start getting these people out of here. And Bob is trying to charge his phone into every outlet in the store. Um,
He's like, not there, Bob. Come with me,
Not there,
Bob.
Bob. You're not safe there, Bob. So all that is great. Also, the decision to there's no subtitles for any of the Spanish. So again, we're just like watching life unfold. If we were there in real life, we're not gonna have subtitles for them as they're speaking, but obviously you get it. They feel so real, and
Mhm.
so I just love that part of it. And then even when they're going through the apartment, he's still just trying to like take it slow. We're saying hi to everybody. We're meeting all these people. There's like two or
Introducing
three
them to
people,
Bob. Bob, this is so and so. This is so and so.
the little
There's like a
baby.
full protest with like the army outside, and he's harboring presumably illegal immigrants that he's hiding from the government. He's just sitting there introducing people to Bob because he's so calm
Yeah,
about it because he has a plan. He knows what's going on.
yeah. So he's cool, calm, collected, has a plan, and then he's able to get Bob to the phone, and we get our next sequence of him trying to get the information of where the rendezvous point is. And so here is where PTA is able to throw some shade at leftist stuff, which again is like not very intense at all, but him just calling out like the noise triggers, like we aren't even in the same room. How am I violating your space? How am I making you unsafe? Um, so
Hmm.
there's a bit of that, which we talked about in Eddington as well, with like the barbs that go towards the right versus the left. And this was
It's
like
just funny,
similar.
like the vast difference in the
Yeah,
barbs. The barbs are like you're saying things that are like a little fake or maybe like a little
just like
obnoxious.
overly performative,
Yeah,
like
compared
the
to
nitpicky
being a
stuff.
fascist.
Yeah, exactly. And so we get that as well. Like he's like, oh, I'm located between the stolen land of XYZ and the stolen land of XYZ.
Yeah.
Um, so
It's
all that
so
stuff
funny.
was good.
I love
And
the
then,
whole conversation that Leo has on the phone. It's so funny.
so then he's able to talk to the supervisor, get the whole
And
information out.
he like demands for supervisors really funny because it's just another it's like the revolution's become
Pulls like
corporate.
Karen,
It's
and that's
so
the way to get
funny.
through it. So yeah, all that stuff was great. And then his exit. So he has to go. He's got his gun, and now he has to follow these skateboard folks as they're going through the rooftops to
Mhm.
get to the point where he can
Dude,
link up again
Leo's
with
so
Sensei.
good. He just can't, he's just like rolling over things. They're all like parkour experts, and he's just rolling after them.
Yeah,
Leo's just fully leaning into it. It's so funny. And then he falls 40 feet down a tree.
it's just so unexpected too, like out of nowhere. Because you see them, they all like make it, and it's like okay, cool, but we didn't get to see like the size of the jump until it cuts to the shot where he falls immediately down the alleyway, and then immediately gets tased. He got up real quick. Good for Bob. That's
Yep.
a hefty fall. He was able to get up quick.
Yeah.
All that adrenaline pumping, and then he gets tased immediately and arrested by like the riot police. Like, again, nothing connected with lockjaw or anything like that. It's just like the
Yeah.
protest that was going on. The riot police. He just was wrong place, wrong time, and got tased and then arrested
Yeah.
there. So he's effectively out of commission for a bit. But yeah, and then with Willa, so what did you make of? Because there was this little thread through it. Obviously, Perfidia, rats, and that like kicks everything into motion. We see Willa's friends are now being interrogated, but they're all saying like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't have a phone. This and that." But at the end, one of them snitches. So what do you think of
Uh, I'm not gonna lie. whoever that was doing the interrogations, that actor is really really good. He's very intimidating,
You're
and
like, I would have told them. I would have said.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would have, but I think it's amazing that they went so long without saying anything because they're just like they're not revolutionaries. They're just teenagers,
They're not, but I thought, and
and they're
even when the
asking if she
raid,
has a phone. Like they're asking like a very innocent question, and I'm amazed that they held their own for so long and said that she didn't have a phone.
yeah, but at that point, I just don't know what was the shift to then make them like want to confess, like, oh yeah, they do have a phone. Like Willa does have a phone.
I think
And
they're just
so
scared. Like it's intimidating and scary.
like I agree with that for sure. But they had already gone through so much of it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if they were gonna buckle, I felt like it would have been early on, but not after they'd already
No,
like
that's not how
gone through all the
interrogation works.
questions.
The whole point of interrogation is to like whittle you down.
Yeah, but it was after the interrogation ended. Like they were all getting escorted from the room, and then on the way out was the like, oh yeah, she does have a phone, and so I just don't know what like happened there
It's like
to
the
make it
threat of
break.
arrest.
Possibly, but then the other case is, I imagine, Willa and these friends. I mean, they're Gen Z. They're in that, they call it the sanctuary city and whatnot. So I also feel like they would be heavily inclined to like resist in their own little way
Which
of
is
just like,
why
I'm not
they
going to answer
lasted
these
so
questions.
long. I mean, only one of them ratted, and there was like three or four of them.
I know, but I just don't know
In any other
why they had to like
situation, like
shift that.
if our friends, uh, if I got if I had like a phone that like my dad didn't want me to know about, and then a government raid happens at our school, and they take our friend group and they go, "Does your friend have a phone number?" Every single one of our friend group is being like, "Yeah, this is his phone number. This is his. He didn't, tell his parents, but this is the phone number. Yeah, if you're looking for him, this is it." Are you kidding? Of course they would, because they wouldn't assume that this is like a crazy thing. They wouldn't assume that the government is trying to like hunt me down.
I
They
mean,
wouldn't assume that I'm in trouble. They would just give
if
up the phone number. These kids are in a sanctuary city. They know not to snitch to the government, and for the most part, they don't. It's just one of them cracks.
yeah,
And
but like
that's how it
why?
always happens. There's always a rat. There's always a rat, bro. Because they're scared. It's the same reason why Perfidia cracked, because she's scared. They're just scared, man. That's how they get you. That's how they get you to snitch.
Bruh. I just think
The
we need
fear
to
runs deep, man.
hold on to our
You're being
friends, support
nitpicky.
our ideals. I mean, it
You're
doesn't matter in
assuming
the
that
grand scheme of
everybody's
things.
thinking like you, and that's not true. These people are just scared, and they don't
Well, I'm
think
just
about
saying,
their
all
friends.
I'm asking for is just like make a threat, like something. Like
The whole
there
thing's a
was no
threat. The
threat.
whole
Well, yeah, the whole
interrogation
thing,
is a threat.
but like a pointed threat. Like we see that with when Regina Hall gets captured. We see it with the guy
Mhm.
Billy Goat
Yeah.
earlier, and so make that point. Okay, they're not
You don't need a
above
pointed threat. He's a
threatening the
kid.
kids,
He's
so
scared
just
enough
do
without the
that.
pointed threat. He doesn't need it. It's implied.
But it was
It's,
over. The interrogation was
you're
over.
you're nitpicky.
So
You're
if
so
he was,
nitpicky.
if the interrogator was like, "Hey, like, okay, like, it's your last chance," but if I find out she does have a phone, then guess what? You just booked yourself, 2 years in prison because you obstructed an investigation. Him just saying that while they're leaving the room, boom. That's all I needed. I just
You're
needed
being
like
you're being
something there,
nitpicky. You're being so nitpicky.
bro. AP common sense is what he
No,
said. Okay. And I didn't like that line either. So I mean, I'm
you
just
didn't.
nitpicking that particular thing. I also don't know. Apparently, he might be like an actual interrogator. I wasn't all that convinced by
You don't
the
think so?
interrogator.
No, I
I
was
would not be
intimidated.
scared. If there were, again, like actionable threats being made, then okay, I'd be scared. But like him himself, he didn't seem all that scary. He's got, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't know what you picture like an interrogation is like.
Um, again, he was just sitting, he was more threatening with the Billy Goat guy. Um,
Yeah.
but he just
He's
wasn't
a
threatening
revolutionary,
in
not a teen.
general.
You don't
I
need to
think this
be. I think that the
this
scale of
situation
threat.
is threatening, but he himself, like as an interrogator, I don't know that it was all that threatening. Because again, he was making jokes like AP common sense. He was saying like, "You expect me to leave this girl
Did
is
you
the
want him to like
only girl in
scream at
America."
them? Did you want him to like threaten teenagers? Like he's not. He doesn't have to do that. That's not
Anything
necessary.
like pull the chair around, get closer to them, or start again like dropping information. He
No.
was like, "Do I look like your father?" And Bluto's playing around with him. He's like, "Yeah, you kind of do." Like I did not sense that those kids were feeling, aside from the one that did snitch, because they said, "Oh, yeah, I'm feeling nervous." So again, that makes sense. But for everyone else, they were kind of taking like joke, and I don't think the interrogator was framed in a way where he would be able to like overcome their making light of the situation in order to make them feel truly threatened because he was taking it easy on them. And even when he was going hard on like the Billy Goat, it wasn't that hard. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm expecting something to be just more, I don't know, overly dramatic in the interrogation. Maybe this is how the interrogations play out in real life.
It
But I
felt
don't
like
know
a
that that
very
was all that
real
intimidating.
interrogation. It
It
felt
just felt like
very real.
very light questioning from someone that's in uniform. And I don't know that that necessarily constituted like, oh, the great overbearing threat of what this organization can actually do and can make life difficult for them. I just want to see more of that for why they
Mm,
cracked in the snitching.
nah, I think that's nitpicky. I think you're being nitpicky.
It,
I think it is a very realistic depiction of what an interrogation would look like in this situation. I don't think he's gonna be like trying to make kids shit their bricks. I think he's like trying to be convincing them that this is the right thing to do, that they need to do this, and that there could be consequences if they don't. I don't think there's any need for him to. I don't think most professional interrogators are going to be like yelling at people or getting aggressive or in their face. I think
well, no, there's different approaches. There's a good cop, bad cop thing, but he
sure,
wasn't even
of
trying to be
course.
like being friends with them or something, or being like, oh, do you even know like what she's been up to, or something like, oh, you will be helping us, like, oh, her father turns out was this crazy person, blah blah blah. It's not even like he was trying to get on their side. He was just like, what's her phone number? And
It's
they're
like
like,
such a
I
small
don't
part of
know.
the movie. I think you're being so nitpicky.
It's a small part, but the overarching thing is any of the interrogation scenes I was not like affected by, like Billy Goat, all the kids, and then Regina Hall at the end are all like interrogated, and they all felt pretty much the same. And then I just wasn't that like intimidated. I was not scared. Like again,
It's just
the
supposed
him
to feel real. I felt
bringing
like
up
it
the
was real.
sister was interesting. Eh, I'd
No, it
say
was a
just
real
dramatize it. You
interrogation.
know,
That's what an interrogation is really like in
have
my
you been
eyes.
interrogated, Dylan?
I've been like what's it called? Deposed.
Oh, a deposition.
Yeah, I've been in a
Well,
deposition
yeah, but
before.
in the case of the deposition, I mean,
It's
that's
still like
not the same
intense
as an
questioning.
interrogation. I mean, yeah, it's questioning and pointed questioning, but I don't know that it's the same as the interrogation, where we know the purpose is not even to like bring criminal cases against them. Like it's literally they're just trying to threaten them to get information so they can continue doing an insanely like illegal and immoral act to try and kidnap Willa. So I'm like, if we're already doing that and this guy is helping, Lockjaw do this, I just wanted more, you know, more of him being heinous in his questioning.
No, I don't think he needs to be heinous. I think he needs to
Well,
be real, and he's real. Like these are the questions he would ask. These are the things that he would say, and he would get
AKA
results because
common sense.
yeah,
I'm
you've
just
never
saying,
heard a cop say something stupid. You never heard a cop say like make a stupid joke when they're in an interrogation.
the
Are
Fourth
you
of July
kidding?
in here.
Yeah, all
Um,
the time. Are you kidding? You never
that one
seen like
was
clips of people
for
doing interrogations?
Mason, for Lily, for Julia, for all the people that when we were setting off SS Walredo to its
Yeah,
final destination point. So yes, they do. But again, I wasn't scared
you
in
just
that moment.
drop an
I wasn't
inside joke.
intimidated. I did. I sure did.
You just drop an
Um,
inside joke in the middle of the podcast.
Holy smokes! I'm just saying, like, yes, police officers have. I've seen them make jokes, but not
Yeah,
interrogators. So maybe if I did
and
get
you weren't
arrested and
intimidated,
we're
right?
getting
You
interrogated,
you weren't intimidated under that questioning, right?
no, because it was a
Somebody else
question. He
might
just
be
made a
just
joke.
because he's a cop. Somebody else might be intimidated just because it's a police officer
You know
asking
what?
questions.
And Ross ratted out Mason during that
There you
incident.
go.
So there you
There you go.
well, that was a separate questioning. I
You had
actually
one
don't.
crack. You had one person crack, and it's all it takes. Just by the presence of an
Wow.
officer.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I think we just need to not be snitching, y'all. I think,
I agree.
come
I'm on
on.
your
I
side.
think this
I
was
wouldn't
very light
snitch.
questioning, and we should not have been snitching in that scenario.
I agree.
But, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just like, this should not have constituted a scenario to snitch. And it didn't, but some people still.
Yeah. I mean, this is like your prom is being shut down and like the military police are here interrogating people over your
And I'd be
friend.
pissed about that too. I'd be like, come
Yeah.
on, we were dancing. We were
This is a
Mobamba.
I'm
And
saying that this is like a much more tense situation than
shut
like
up and
a
dance.
beat cop talking to you guys because you're about to light off fireworks and you still got snitched on.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it's like believable
The
enough.
temperature's there, man.
Like I don't know that it's like it doesn't break the movie or anything. This is also is in like a movie where it's like, oh, like the plot holes and whatnot. That's not really what it's for. But we
Yeah.
get her, Willa's phone gets called, and then she
Yeah.
still had the phone, so she also lied about having a phone. I feel like at a certain point, like once you're like, it's now turned nighttime. You've been driving
Yeah.
with her for a bit. I feel like you'd be like, oh, by the way, I do have a phone, but
I
she doesn't.
think
Which again, she's a teenage girl. It's a scary situation. It makes sense. to
Yeah,
not like fully be on the dial with everything. But I'm just like, come, like homegirl, this is real life. This is
yeah.
not, an exercise. So
Mhm.
lose
It's
that
just, would
phone.
you? I guess I can kind of believe it, but I was like, you're going to be willing to get in this van with a stranger because you trust them enough that they're helping you out in this, raid situation, but you don't trust them enough to let them know you have a phone.
Yeah, she did the whole, which maybe it's like my dad will find out after the fact. But again, at that point, it's like you're trying to survive. Like, who cares if he's gonna be mad that you had a phone?
Yeah, and like
Um,
it's like, what would your phone do? Because Bob doesn't have a phone, so it's not like you could call him anyway, and there's
yeah,
nobody else you could call other than I guess 911. But if you're the daughter of a revolutionary in a sanctuary city, you're not going to call 911. So what good would that phone be for her?
yeah. I don't know because they did the device thing, and
Yeah.
then they do the whole exchange as well. So it's like she
Hmm.
passed the test.
Yes.
So I don't know why she was withholding that. So again, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit more than a nitpick, but you can say again the stress of the scenario made her lie in the first place, and then just
Yeah.
forget about it afterwards.
I mean, she's never had to experience anything like that in her life, and so she's, very early in the movie, she's before all this raid stuff happens, she is like dismissive of the revolutionary tactics. She doesn't want to take the device with her. She doesn't care about the codes as much.
Yeah,
But when it starts to pick up, she's like locked in. She's believing that it's real. It's now very intense for her, and I could see maybe in the stress of the situation, she just doesn't want to give up her phone quite yet, just in case. Trying to make
indeed.
decisions for her. Like again, I understand the believability, but I also like could understand somebody pushing back against it.
Yeah, she wasn't ready to lose that Duolingo streak just yet.
Yeah,
She had to
for
hold
real.
on. So we get through that. She ends up at the nunnery where
Hmm.
she finds out that her mother was indeed a rat and not this great revolutionary that died. Um, and so she's got to reckon with that a little bit. And then, yeah, later the nunnery gets raided, and then she gets captured. But in the meantime, we get another Christmas adventure meeting.
Oh, love it. I love all the theming with it. I love that underneath this guy's house is this huge bunker where they have these Christmas adventures meetings.
So is that like tied to every other house in the neighborhood, or is
I
just
don't
this
know.
one property is able to just extend all that?
I
Like
think it's
that's
just such a funny concept that like there's a secret occult like white supremacist of all these powerful figures. This like almost conspiracy theory level uh meeting place
yeah,
of these influential individuals. And their
exactly.
conversation is so funny. Everything they say is fucking funny.
It is like just listening to, especially on the second time, like trying to listen to how many people were on the movie's wavelength by this time, and they're laughing at the stuff that they do. Like
Mhm.
they're like, well, what is the race basically? And he's like, yeah, it's black. And he just goes, like it's like the
Yeah,
worst thing you've heard
it's
is that
so
it's black.
funny.
So that the one about the finger licking chicken frozen foods had gotten raided, and he's like, I love their nuggets. So again, it just does a good job. Obviously, this is all played for laughs, but it's meant to highlight, some of the absurdity of just like these people are doing the worst possible things. They believe in
That's the thing, is
the
like
most
that
awful
also
things.
feels real to me. Is like these people believe these terrible, awful things, but they're also just people. Like they like chicken nuggets, they make jokes, they
Yeah,
have like normal reactions to things. They're not like evil caricatures of like these shadowy figures working in the dark to conspire against people. They're just
yeah,
like normal guys in a bunker who say horrible things and believe horrible things. Like it feels very real. The whole movie feels very real, even though there's like these otherworldly extra, comical nature to it with the Christmas adventures. It still feels grounded and real, even though it's, quite out there.
hmm So we get to find that now the Christmas adventurers want to take out Lockjaw, and then
Mhm.
also seemingly take out Willa as well.
Just
But
in
certainly
case.
they want to take care of Lockjaw since they made a fool of them by lying to them. So he's certainly not going to join the club. He's going to get a ticket all the way out of here to, I don't know, definitely not to meet with Saint Nick.
Yeah.
Um,
Hail Saint Nick.
so we get Bob and Sensei round two, where he gets to leave the hospital because there's people in that underground railroad system, or whoever's working with Sensei is uh, first the like lady that was there at the when he was arrested, and then the lady that was at the hospital. So they're able to free him.
Mhm.
Since they picks him up, and then immediately number one takes a selfie, and then number two gives him some beers
I
as
love
they
that,
start drinking on the
Leo
road.
does not fucking care. Like he takes a selfie with him, and Leo's just like
Yeah,
he's supposed to be like this intense revolutionary who's paranoid about everything, and he just takes a picture with Bob, and then they just start drinking beers on the road. It
I
just
know. Which I'm
feels
like,
so chill,
Sensei, what are you doing? I mean, I love Sensei, but I'm like,
so
my
funny.
guy, why are you drinking and driving, and why supply Bob with some beer? I mean, maybe he knows him best. Maybe he's like he needs this to get a good kick in him, but like maybe a protein bar, maybe a banana, like
No,
something else
man.
he could have
For
given
some
to this
people,
guy.
beer is just a thing. I get it. Sometimes you're having like a very stressful 24 hours, and you just get a cold one. And it feels better.
So they're on the road, and then a cop happens to be there as
And
he's
Bob
taking a
holds the beer,
swig.
but he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, oh!" Just like
So
the knowledge that like Sensei like drives around and drinks beer all the time and is like very conscious of the police, and Bob, who's this revolutionary who's blown up buildings and like broken into immigration detention centers, and is just like so oblivious to the fact that you can't drink beer while driving a car. It's so funny to me. He's like done so many worse things, and they're about to get pulled over for drinking and driving. It's so
yeah.
funny.
So then, since they has to send Bob on his way into the line, Bob he gets booted from the car,
End of the line, Bob.
and then
He has the
yeah,
best lines.
he
Heard,
does.
Bob.
And then we
Thank you,
get
Sensei. Thank you, Sensei.
Viva la Revolution!
God damn it. Thank you, Sensei.
And then we get the paternity test. So Lockjaw
This is a
comes
great
in.
scene. It's in this like big Western style nunnery, this huge cathedral type setting of like a spaghetti Western.
Hmm.
It is so well shot. It looks beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that whole sequence.
it does look great. All those compositions were incredible. And then slowly, like Willa catching on to what this
Hmm.
is very compelling to watch. And then just the way that she tries to piss him off, basically. The stuff with the
Yeah.
why is the shirt so tight?
I'm not gay.
I didn't say that. I'm not a homosexual. I didn't say that. But I see the lifts in your shoes. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so good. Um, so yeah, that whole moment very tense, and then of course we know he's going to be the dad, and then that presents a big uh-oh for them.
I love when he
So
says it. He goes, "Uh oh."
so
There's just something very specific about the line deliveries he's giving. And I love the uh-oh specifically because it's like it isn't very much an uh-oh for her because she's about to die. Like if he wasn't her parent, her parent, it probably wouldn't have been as big a deal, but because that's his kid, she has to die and disappear for good and not be found. So there's no evidence to the contrary, which is
yeah,
bad for her. So the uh-oh is for her, but it's also for him because now there is evidence out there that he had sex with a black woman and like spawned a mixed race child, and he just can't have
mhm,
that out there. So it's like this is the worst possible outcome for both of them.
indeed. And then
It's a
she tries
shared
to
uh-oh.
she tries to run away, and he tries to chase her, and he does the whole, "Oh, are we catching up on daddy daughter games? Daddy daughter games?" And he does a little shimmy as she tries to juke him. So I think that's
How do you
funny.
not, dude? Sean Penn is so good.
Like he's great. Like that moment was great. But again, that goes to like we just found this terrible revelation. She knows we all know now. He's gonna try and kill her, get rid of her for good, and then she's just running around. It's like that little screwball comedy moment,
Yeah.
um, which PJ has a little bit. And There Will Be Blood. He does the same thing when
Hmm.
HW runs away, and then which is a great shot of like you see Daniel at the edge of frame, like just
Hmm.
stopping, and they just stare at each other for like 3 seconds, and then the chase begins. Um, but yeah, so he likes PTA likes his parent and child running away from each other in the chase. So he catches her, and then is having to put her in the car. That's when we see,
Bob.
Bob shows up and is about to take a shot, and then we're like, okay, like is this going to be the moment? But not so. And then we have to begin our car chase. But before that, Lockjaw hands Willa off to what was his name? He was like the
I
colonel
don't
or
know.
sergeant, or they called him something like some kind of rank. But so they hand him off to the bounty hunter, and the bounty hunter does not want to kill the kid, but he'll transport the kid to other people that'll
Hmm.
take care of it, apparently. So Lockjaw's like, great. And then thus begins are 3 and then eventually 4 car non-linear chase. I mean, they're not like right behind each other chasing each other, but
Mhm.
the the chess pieces are there. They're set, and now we're watching it play out.
Yeah.
Um, so before we get to the iconic, what will now become iconic car chase through that hilly road,
Hmm.
um, I have another not issue, but just a question with the
Okay.
film. And I wonder if you agree that it is a bit of a nitpick or if it is a genuine issue, something that took you
Okay.
out of it.
Sure.
We see the bounty hunter drop Willa off
Hmm.
to the Nazi group, and then he gets in the car and stays. He remains.
Hmm.
And then later, he gets out and then is going to release her, basically. And then, the shootout begins with the Nazi group.
Hmm.
So my concern, my issue is I just
Uh-huh.
wanted more to instigate his change of heart to go and save her when he
Hmm.
had initially,
Okay.
dropped her off, driven all that way in order to drop her off, knowing that these people were going to kill her.
Yeah.
Um,
That I
so
can understand. I can understand
yes,
that issue. I think the movie is about beliefs and standing by your beliefs, and all these characters, they have beliefs and they want to stand by them, and the ones that are evil are the ones that don't want to stand by them. Lockjaw is trying to hide from his reality, and the Christmas Adventurers Club are trying to punish him for his reality. And it's about presenting an image, discordant with your beliefs. And the revolutionaries are the ones that are sticking to being themselves and fighting for themselves and fighting for what is right and what is just, regardless of consequence. And I think this is like an example of this character who said to Lockjaw, like, I won't kill a child, that's wrong, but I'll guess I'll deliver it if you pay, like, because Lockjaw offers to pay him double. And I think that whole ride over, he is in conflict because deep down, what is the difference between killing her yourself and giving her to these people who are going to kill her? Like, fundamentally, you are just taking part in her killing. There is no difference. And I think he drops her off and he's sitting there and he's looking at all these people get together, and he's like, he knows what they're going to do. They're probably going to kill her, chop her up, and dump her body somewhere. And he's just staring at this woman. And I think deep down, his beliefs, knowing that, he won't kill a kid, he'll do a lot of horrible things, but he won't kill a kid. He has to stand by those beliefs. And he's not necessarily like a good guy, but he is following the themes of this movie of being who you are and true to what you believe. And he can't in good conscience just drive away, which is
hmm
my understanding of it. I can understand your perspective though of wanting more. And I will concede that when I was watching it, I was kind of like, I thought, he would have something to say or something before just trying to shoot the Nazis, maybe trying to negotiate or something, maybe just trying to pick her up and leave and being like, sorry. Because he's very willing to just shoot these Nazis and presumably die for this because they
yeah,
all have
but like
guns, and
yeah, he knows there's at least
yeah, he's
3 or 4
going to
of
get killed.
them,
I
so
thought
there's
maybe
a
there'd
good
be a
chance he
moment where
dies.
he's like a Tarantino kind of like tense moment where there's like a showdown, Western style, guns at the ready. He's like trying to negotiate taking her back and not having her killed and having them like everybody live. Like I thought like he would walk into it knowing like with the intent of like having her not get killed, but also not getting killed himself and nobody else dying and just walking away from the situation. But perhaps there was a futility of knowing like there's no way they're going to agree to this. There's no point of even trying, and I need to get the advantage and just shoot one right away. I think
hmm
there's like a thought process to that. Like if I'm going to go at this, I could try and negotiate with words, but if I believe that these people will not give this up, they want the money, they're going to kill her, they don't have the same morals as I do, should I just stand for what I believe in and get the edge on them and shoot one when he's unarmed so that I can have a chance, like a fighting chance to do what I believe in and to possibly get out myself? I don't know. The movie does not allow you to see his perspective or like very briefly see his perspective and not really understand his reasoning. And I think I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily necessary to understand his reasoning. Just I believe that his character has a motivation. We just don't know what it is.
right. So
And I
yeah,
think
I
that's fine.
think I don't know because it is such a big like it has massive impact on the plot. It allows Willa
Yeah.
to now be free from that, and then she's on her own driving, and obviously there's still some danger
Mhm.
left. to evade. But for the most part, that takes away what was the most immediate and
But
pressing danger.
I don't think it's unbelievable. I just think it's not explained.
Yeah, I don't
If
think
that
it's
makes sense.
unbelievable. I just wish we would have seen uh, like something that would have triggered that change for him, because
Mm.
it could have been compelling. I mean, what you were saying there, I think, is interesting. I think another case could have been like he was just fed up with being treated so horribly by these people. I mean, they made like two racist comments towards him,
Yeah.
but I don't think that was what like triggered it.
No.
Because you would imagine he's dealt with that plenty of times before. And that's my other case of like, he's like, oh, I want to children, implying he's killed people before. So it's like he's a great guy. I mean, he knows the people
Yeah.
he's working with. And so it's like, again, to have such a massive change of heart that you're like, not only am I going to try and save this girl and then kill these people, possibly die myself, but certainly now become an enemy to these people, or no longer be able to work with people like Lockjaw and whoever else. Like, this is a massive change. And
Mm.
so if he had conversed with Willa at all in the car and she's like pleading for her life or asking like what's going on, like something there that makes him sympathize with her, or if we saw on his dash he has like a photo of his own daughter, something like that, or
I
if he
don't think
sees,
Willow would do that. I don't think Willow would plead. He doesn't seem like the kind of character that would have a conversation, though. Like, to me, that would
yeah,
seem like against both of their characters.
which is possible. I'm just showcasing things that could have been done,
Sure.
or if he witnesses, again, if they're being weird or whatever, and it's seeming like they're going to rape her before they dispense of her and kill her, or even if, which I don't think this would be out of character, if she were on that bench, like now seemingly like this is it, like end of the line, if she starts breaking down and crying because she's been swept uh, through all of this so quickly in the past
Mhm.
like 3 hours, from when the nunnery gets raided to finding out her father to now getting transported to what is going to be her death. Like, that's heavy stuff. So if he sees her starting to like break down, it's like, no, like, little girl should go through this. She's completely innocent in all this. Lockjaw clearly did something, like he overheard those conversations. He knows that this is like Lockjaw, brought her into the world and doesn't like that, and so now he's trying to get rid of her.
Mhm.
um, any of those I think would have helped made that choice more believable. Again, I don't think it's unbelievable, whatever his motivations are, but to have more clarity on that motivation to do this massive choice that ends his life, and then obviously for the part of the plot, allows Willa to be free. Uh, I just wanted more there. So I just think it's a massive character decision given to someone that has such little screen time, and that we don't really get any genuine look into their like state of mind and their thought process.
Sure.
So that was my issue there. But once we see Willa on the road, I guess there's another major incident on the road where Lockjaw gets freaking shot
Dude, that shit's crazy.
in the face. So that
Yeah.
was wild. Definitely unexpected that they, at that point in the film, we think took him out for good. So I thought that was very compelling. And then that brings us into the great car chase on the hills, which is so unique and original.
Oh, yeah.
Um, like, incredibly well done. Again, it's not them like bumping each other. It's not 1,000 cars on a highway that they're navigating, which is them
On an
going
empty
over these
road, going up and
hills.
down and chasing each other, letting each other
Exactly.
down.
Um, so yeah, I just think, yeah, brilliant,
Look
brilliant
gorgeous.
decision that they
Yeah.
did.
So
Um,
unique.
and
Props
when
to the
the
location department for finding that place and leading you
Yeah,
to it.
well,
So
apparently
good.
they like didn't know exactly what they were doing in that sequence until they had found that location.
That's
They
what
were
I'm
like, oh,
saying.
like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what we need to do. So that was amazing. When Bob's car comes into frame, like, we have this beautiful long shot. We see Willa's car go by, the Mustang go by, and then after a few seconds, then we see Bob's car enter the frame on the road, chasing them
Mhm.
down too. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, this is epic. The score was also fantastic at that point.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely loved it. And then the whole way it resolves, like Willa's maneuver to stop right over the hill, get out of the car, and
Genius.
then when Mustang comes over, crashes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a great, great way to end it. Great decision. Um, and then once he's taken care of, Bob pulls up, and then they have that exchange where she's trying to figure out like who is he, and asking the those same questions, because now she can't trust anything. She doesn't know what's going
Yeah.
on.
She's so
Um,
traumatized that now she fully leans into like the revolutionary paranoia of like, you might be someone super close to me, but I can't trust anybody right now. Say it back to me.
Exactly. And so I love again that whole thing of Bob because I didn't know with the car chase what was going to happen, but I assumed there's going to be some kind of crash and Bob gets there just in time and maybe saves the day. But that doesn't happen. Like again, he doesn't save the day. So throughout the whole film, he
He
is
really
trying
does
to
not
get to
much.
his
Yeah.
daughter, save her, but really doesn't make an impact. However, all the stuff that he gave to her with the
Hmm.
training, with giving her all the like revolutionary code speak that she was going to need to rely on, putting her in karate, working with sensei, all that stuff, like those skills she was able to use in order to survive, like get to this point. And
Yeah.
so I love that as a father, even though he like wasn't there to specifically save the day, in how he raised her, he was able to give her the tools she needed to save herself in that moment. And so that I thought was great.
Yeah.
Um, Lockjaw, he survived.
Dude, it's such a great fade because you think the movie's over, like the plot has resolved, they've found each other. You think that might be the end, and then it starts a crossfade, and you just see the bright red on his face, and you're like, "How the fuck? How is he alive?" And he's just like marching. He's marching as like strongly as he always does, as if nothing's happened to him, and his face
Yeah,
is just pouring blood.
it was crazy. That was a big laugh in the theater in both times of him just showing up, the needle drop happening too, and he's just strutting along. It was crazy, crazy to see. But of course, he doesn't get a happy ending. He does go to the Christmas adventures and tries to explain to them.
He knows that they tried to kill him, and he thinks that the audacity of like trying to take back control of the situation and still get in and thinking that he'll get away with it is insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. And his face is all fucked up because it has had reconstruction surgery on it, just
Hmm.
horribly. And he's like instead of shying away from it, I'm going to lean into it and tell like a false truth and be like, yes, I did have sex with a black woman. I was reverse raped.
Yeah.
A crazy thing to say.
Like, I believe she was a sperm thief. And the other guy's like, yeah, semen demons. Like, that's like, it's a common occurrence. And he's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I run into those all the time.
it's so funny.
So yeah, and then they tell him, "All right, you got in." They give him this tour of the office, and then he's sitting there all happy, props his legs up, and then the gas starts seeping in,
Hmm.
and he's dead. They kill him, nice and
Yeah.
clean this time. So,
Yep. They throw him into a furnace and burn him alive, or burn him dead. Burn his body.
and then we get Bob and Willow's resolution at the end, which has a letter from Perfidia. So, what did you make of this? Of the letter?
Um, I think it's like leaving on a legacy of like just a reminder that like she spent the first part of the movie, the first portion of her part of the movie, which is the second part of the movie, is Willa is not aware of her mother's betrayal and just thinks of her mother as like a strong woman because of everything that Bob told her. And then the next part of the movie that she's in is she is now told that her mother's a rat. She's crying in tears about it. She no longer thinks like this whole image she has of her mother has been shaken and shattered. All these people hate her. All these people think that she's like a terrible person because she ratted on the French 75, and her whole worldview is just crumbling down. And then she gets this letter and she's reading it, and her mother's just like the letter that Perfidia writes is so different than the Perfidia that we know. It's like you're realizing that she's like a fully fleshed out person. This isn't like a caricature. It's not like an idea of a person. You understand that she has thoughts and feelings. She feels fear. She was scared. She's like battled with this strong ego that she's had, and she's overcome it. And she thinks about her daughter all the time and misses her. Like she's just a real woman, as opposed to any kind of a caricature of what people have said about her that has created this idea for her. She's now reading her mother's own words, and she can see her as like a human being now. I think that's
Mhm.
nice.
Gotcha. Yeah. For me, the first time I watched it, especially, I don't know that I enjoyed the decision to include the letter.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was necessary for them at their point, because I think, like I said before, that message of like Bob and how he was like a failure as a parent in many ways, but again, like what he was able to teach Willa allowed her to get through it. I just like their connection at the end of it, and then I would have loved to lean more into that. And despite her again now having all the reason in the world to like hate and reject her father for one all the lies about her mom, but then also like getting her into this whole mess. Like this wouldn't have happened if they hadn't done what they did in their younger years. So there could have been that total rejection. But instead, she decides to like embrace her father and the way that he had raised her, even though again he was not perfect in it. He was trying his best at the time, and so I would have liked to see that go even further, where she gets to meet people like Sensei, or get to see Deandra again, whatever happened with her, and then see like the other people along the way that helped Bob get to Willa, and so that she could see like, oh, the community as it is now, like all the past revolutionaries, whatever they are now in their current lives, that came together to try and like help her out, even though they knew, or many of them knew, that she was the daughter of a rat and whatever Perfidia had done, like they were still trying to rally around and do what was right because it's right. And then she would choose to like continue that going forward, which we see at the very end anyway, when she like goes off to a protest. So she's like continuing forward that, again, those ideals, going about it in a different way. Again, not these like crazy overt violent revolutionary actions, but going to a protest, like making sure her voice is being heard, like still fighting power, still presenting that resistance. I would have liked her to get there through that way, rather than us like backtracking and then it's like we're going back to Perfidia and then sort of again touching again on her legacy. And I don't want to say, because again the movie isn't one that is judging its characters at all, but it felt like this was like there was a thread hanging with Perfidia, and this was the way to close that loop and allow Perfidia to get off the hook a little bit.
Yeah,
even in just the eyes of her like daughter. And so I think, like I said, I just would have preferred her to go more into like, okay, this is like how Bob.
You just hate rats, man. You hate rats.
Apparently, but just as how Bob like prepared her for the world, and now she's going to continue utilizing all the revolutionary techniques that he imparted into her. But now that she's younger, she's the next generation. She's going to continue go out there and fight and try and make a change, but in a better way. And we get that kind of with like Perfidia saying, "Oh, she's like, oh, I want you to like, I hope you get to make the change that we failed to do." And she's like, "Oh, give your dad a kiss for me." Like, I think that stuff is sweet. I also think the cut, which I noticed on the second time, like to her, Bob, and the child in bed, like this, that cut back to something that we saw in that initial motherhood montage.
Yeah.
Or someone had brought that up, and that unlocked for me that it was, again, like a lot of that time in her life was difficult, but it's not like everything was miserable when she was with her daughter. And so we get to see, like you were saying, that like fully fleshed out human being. So I do like that. So now I'm less against it. I do still think it would have been compelling if, again, her image of like Perfidia was just shattered and there's no like, oh, but now we got a letter. So you only had about 48 hours of thinking that, your mom was a rat that abandoned you and didn't like you. Now it's all okay. And then you get to carry on her legacy, but in a better way. Like, I don't know. I just think it makes things a little too neat and tidy. And I think we could have got there, like her continuing, the revolutionary spirit with meeting the other characters that are currently there to this day and are still in the fight, doing things like Sensei is doing. Which is to say, I just wanted more Benicio del Toro in the movie. I think that's actually part of what it is. His little
last time
dance,
you see him is him doing the dance.
his shinny. Oh my god, it's so good. It's amazing. And they're just like, "What'd you throw out there? What'd you throw? Trash?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's trash." And like, are you?
Did you watch the Phoenician Scheme yet?
I have not. No,
bro. He's the lead of that movie. He's in, I think, every scene of that movie, and I like him more in this. And he's not in this that much. Yeah. And he's like, he's great. All of the Phoenician Scheme, and he's so good in this. Like the little bit of time he has in here is. I think he also needs an Oscar nomination alongside Sean Penn for Best.
I would love that. I will be first in line for his For-Your Consideration campaign.
He's so good.
Courage. A few small beers. He's great. He is top tier in this.
A few small beers. His lines are, him and Sean Penn had the most quotable lines in this movie,
for sure. Well, that and some of Leo's is great, especially when he's on the phone. Whenever he's on the phone, he's dropping.
Yeah, when he's on the phone, he's fantastic. Yeah, nobody does a freak out like Leo does.
Truly, yeah, he's always great with that. So, any final thoughts?
Um, I just think it says so much. I think it's so relevant to right now, and I think everybody should go and see it because even if you don't enjoy the movie, which I can't imagine you not enjoying this movie, even if you don't enjoy it, it will at least like incite a conversation in you and your friends, and I think it can only, I think it can only do good, and I think this
Yeah.
movie is beautiful.
Would you rat on your friends? That can be one of the discussions.
Are you a co-op? Are you a fucking co-op?
Dude, that was his daughter in there. Sean Penn. It was his
Yeah.
daughter.
Is that my daughter in there?
I was
Is that
going to
my
send
daughter
you
in
because
there?
you once you watched it, you messaged me. You said Sean Penn's going to win an Oscar, and so my reply was going to be because I was bringing this up whenever we talk about Sean Penn. I was like, "Is that my
My
daughter in there?"
daughter in there?
I was going to type that. I'm glad I didn't because then you would have been confused and been like, "Wait, it's a massive plot element. Is that or not his daughter in there?" So,
Yeah. Is that my daughter in there?
and it was his daughter.
It was his
Uh,
daughter in there.
yeah, as you said, just like what's interesting about it is the most commercial movie PTA has made. Like it's very straightforward. The
Yeah.
plot
Yes.
cannot get confused at all. Again, this
100%.
versus like Inherent Vice is
Yeah.
such night
This is just
day and
like
night.
packed wall to wall with really good action, and it's just like very exciting to watch. So like even if you're not into, even if you just like superhero movies, you can go and just be entertained by this movie for 3
Exactly,
hours. Yeah.
because it's very, like you said, like action oriented. It's got great pacing. Like
Yeah,
it
it does.
is so well stitched together.
It like
The
it
momentum is
rips for
there.
3 hours, dude. It's like it doesn't feel like that long at all. It kind of does, but like not really. Like I'm just
It
enjoying it so
it
much.
doesn't. Yeah,
It could have been even. It could have been 30 minutes longer, and I would have been having a great time.
I definitely. Yeah, because seeing it twice again, I'm like, this
It's
doesn't
just so
feel like
refreshing.
a
There's nothing
borderline
greater
3 hour movie.
than there's nothing greater than like a 3 or 3 plus hour movie that doesn't feel like it. That just feels like a time flying by. There's no greater feeling than that. I love Once Upon a Time in America. 4 hours of perfection.
And then, as we are touching on here, like it is very timely. I mean, in the film they call it MKU, but again, they obviously analog to ICE, and so clearly, what is happening in the film, like today, like right now, this is a great portrait of that and why it is so dangerous. Why there can be a lack of oversight on massive armed police adjacent organizations or military adjacent organizations that can go anywhere in the world, or not in the world, but anywhere in the uh, country to any city they like, and you know, start disappearing people, ruining people's lives,
Yeah.
taking people without there being any suspicion of crime, and just detaining them. Like,
No due
obviously,
process.
this is all taking place in the context of like this racist guy trying to eliminate the knowledge of his mixed race daughter. But again, as you were saying, like it is in the broader context of the real political climate of America in this day and age. And so the fact that, yeah, that is a part of the story too makes it that much more rich and interesting to watch and certainly to talk about. So yeah, we will see how that factors into the Oscars race, and what things look like months from now. Because again, it's been months of this so far, and it's only heightening and getting more extreme, more intense. So we'll see where that goes. But as far as the Oscar chances, what do you think this is gonna do? I mean, it's a pretty
I think
scary.
pretty good chances PTA wins Best Director.
I think this will, yeah, be
I think
his
this will be
him
one of
being
the front
crowned.
runners for Best Picture.
It's
It'll be
got to be,
this and maybe like something small and artsy, like maybe Hamnet or something.
yeah.
Uh, but I think this will be a really big front runner for Best Picture. I think Sean Penn kind of a lock for Best Supporting Actor, unless somebody else blows the competition away. I just think this is such a like iconic and very idiosyncratic performance, and he's like a very popular actor who's kind of making a comeback recently in some movies as a, when he like retired for a while and now he's coming back. I don't think Leo gets a nomination. I think there's probably gonna be five. I think maybe if there isn't five really good performances out there that like maybe have more attention, because I think what Jeremy Allen White might probably get a nomination for the Bruce Springsteen biopic, and then there's probably some other ones. Maybe Paul Mescal in there for one of the two movies he has coming out. You know, I think there's a couple of people. There's a couple of smaller movies that could take nominations. I don't think Leo's kind of a front runner. I definitely don't think he's gonna win. Even if he does get a nomination, he's probably gonna be like the fifth man in there, just kind of there because they ran out of names. Uh, possible Benicio del Toro nomination, but that's going to be kind of rare. They've
That'd
already
be
got one in there, and it's Sean Penn.
yeah, that would be
I think Sean
awesome.
Penn's a lock.
Definitely not
I
gonna
don't think it's
happen,
going to
but
happen.
it would be cool.
And Teyana Taylor, possible nomination. I think she's very popular, and I think even though she's not in the movie, her presence is felt throughout the movie, and so I think
She
it's possible she gets nominated.
she was great. It
She
made a
was.
huge impression. And she's not in the film very long, but made a
Mhm.
huge impression.
Yeah,
And then Chase Infinity, I thought also did a great
yeah, I thought
job.
she was great too.
And so this was her debut. We'll
Yeah.
definitely see more of her because yeah, I mean she's holding her own with the giants like Leo and Sean Penn and all
Mhm.
this. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
And then
great.
of course, best cinematography, best score, best sound editing, uh, best maybe not production design. That might be it. I don't know. Best casting. Isn't this the first year for casting?
It might be. So
Yeah, I think they might get a best casting nomination.
that could fit best
Best
writing nomination,
stunts. Isn't this the
adapted.
first year for best stunts?
No, I think that's
Is it the
later.
year after?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think they'll get a best casting nomination. It's enough of an ensemble. Yeah.
hmm So yeah, so definitely one to look out for come Oscar season. But yeah, I think the narrative behind PTA like this finally being the one where he wins an Oscar, and then they'll
Yeah.
probably uh
Oh, and best writing. He'll get a nomination for best adapted screenplay.
yeah, and has a good chance at winning that. But certainly director, I
Yeah.
think he will take, and then best picture at the
Yeah.
moment. And I think it would be the front runner just because of how
Absolutely.
incredible it
And
is. Like it's
timely.
so amazingly made. Like the craftsmanship in it just feels so seamless.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, as we talked about, like the timeliness of it, it can only unfortunately get more meaningful the more that we're in the age that we're
Yeah.
in. So
Mhm.
yeah, all right. Well, how many ocean waves out of 5, Bob?
Full five. Very strong
There
full
you
five.
go.
Favorite movie of the year so far.
Gets the full 5. I give it 4.5 ocean waves out of 5.
You punk. You schmuck. Go see it
Courage,
again.
Bob.
Go see it in
Courage.
IMAX. Go see it in IMAX. It's the same thing with Interstellar, bro. I guarantee you it's only because you saw it in regular. Go
That
see
could
it in
play
IMAX.
into it. I mean, Interstellar was a
Have your
5 star
mind
before that,
changed.
but yeah, I mean, I could see this growing. I talked about the issues that I had. I don't know if those will change, but again, the fact that the film is so enjoyable and so watchable. Like again, that's what's crazy
Oh
about it.
yeah.
And we talk so much about the heavy themes, and it ties into the precarious place you are in our country. It's just so watchable. Again, like
It's
it's
very entertaining.
insane, very entertaining, very comedic, um, very tense. It just pulls you along.
Mhm.
So I might watch it a third time. I don't know if it'll be an IMAX, but
Come with me. You,
we'll see
me,
whether the
some other
score
people will go.
rises.
We'll make it a whole plan to go in IMAX.
But yeah, 4.5, and you give it a full 5. So definitely we can say PTA did it again.
Knocked it out of the park.
Another banger.
My goat. He's the best. He's the best there is living right now, I think. The more of his movies I watch, the more I believe that.
That's crazy though. Scorsese, you love Scorsese.
I do love Scorsese. He's up there for sure. But there are movies of Scorsese that I've watched that I'm like, like just not that into it. New York, New York. Eh,
I still haven't seen that. I'll need to watch it and see what's going on there.
it's
Okay.
just. But I don't think there's any Paul Thomas Anderson movie where I've watched, even the ones, even like Inherent Vice, where I'm like, it just doesn't land for me as much as the others. Like I still think it's incredible. I
Yeah,
think
you give that a
everything he does.
4. I'm not on that
Yeah,
wavelength, but
yeah.
he's definitely a very accomplished director, well deserving of all the acclaim he gets. Because yeah, like this one, he just pumps out masterpieces. He's got
He
it
just
down.
makes excellent choices. My favorite directors are the ones where I can tell that the choices are being done intentionally and full of effort and making really, really good choices. When you're a director, that's pretty much your job. You're the one who's making choices. I want it to look like this. I want the set to be like this. I want the costumes to look like this. Like it's your job to make choices with the limitations that you have and fit the story you want to tell. And the best directors are the ones that make the best choices. I think Scorsese makes incredible choices. I think Greta Gerwig makes incredible choices. I think for directors like now Ari Aster makes incredible choices. Emerald Fennell, I think, even though her stories aren't as even though the one movie
Saltburn.
Saltburn didn't like land for me, I still think as a director, like her choices are impeccable in terms of how it looks and how it's paced. Uh, I think, of course, PTA still lands
Yeah.
for me. Tarantino uh, makes some pretty good choices. Bong Joon-ho makes the best choices. Everything he does is, even if I don't like it that much, I could see where the thought was in the thought process and why it's so good. You know, that's what I love. I love seeing intention and seeing purpose. Even David Lynch. I just watched Lost Highway for the first time. I didn't really like Lost Highway that much, but I got a feeling from it, and I think it was the exact feeling he wanted me to feel, and it was because of the intentional choices he made, and I respect that, even though it wasn't, my favorite.
For sure.
It's about intention. It's about choices. If you're making art, you have to make choices.
100%. Well said.
That's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars, whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.